It's been 3 days since we sprayed this on, and we definitely have some issues with it.
Okay, we gotta count this out.
Okay.
Well, that didn't turn out as we expected.
Someone needs to come with a better design for this. It's kind of a shit.
This is kind of crazy.
We have to go through and scrape off everything that can be scraped off, and then do another coat. It seems like the thinner we mixed it almost compounded the issue. Where like the glue, like the binder started getting so thin that I was just spraying more of the glue out and not as much of the cork. And so the thinner we made it, the actually worse the issue became, which is kind of weird and a bit counterintuitive. You think if it didn't come out, it's because it was too thick. But we've since been testing a lot of different consistencies of it, and we seem to have come up with a solution. We'll see. But the issue is that all the cork that we sprayed inside of the hull, because the glue was so thin, a lot of it sort of like drained out of the cork. We're hoping that it's not a issue with it adhering to the primer that we used. I don't think that's the issue, because there's some places where it stuck pretty well and there's some places where it didn't stick. So I think it has more to do with the consistency of the spray. Fingers crossed. The test that we originally did, we sprayed on a little bit, the material was a little bit thicker when we did that test, and that's much more difficult to scrape off. Like, you can eventually get it off, but it takes a lot more elbow grease, whereas other parts, it just sort of slides right off.
Yeah, because this is meant to be like an easy...
Should be easy. I think the issue is that it seems like it needs to be thicker than we thought it needed to be. But the issue was that when it was thicker, and air pressure was too high, it was drying out the material too fast and it would clog. So then we made it more and more watery. Like, we made the product thinner and thinner by adding water. And then it almost compounded that issue by spraying more of the glue out, and because it sort of separated the glue from the cork particles. This is all just a theory. I have no idea. It's a weekend, so we can't call a company anyway. Mixed up a new batch and made it sort of that porridgey, oatmeal-y sort of consistency, and it's definitely thicker than what we were spraying. And we did a test, and that seemed to work better. So yeah, it's a little bit counterintuitive that a thicker product sprays better, but it seems to not separate the glue from the cork as much.
But it was weird because we started off thick and it didn't work.
And it didn't work. So it's such a simple thing, and it's somehow beyond my understanding. But our new test did work better, and so we need to make sure that it adheres well. So we can't have a poor foundation, which means we have to go through and scrape off everything that can be scraped off, and then do another coat. Yeah. All right, so we spent most of the day scraping off most of the cork, but the good part about poor adhesion is that it comes off easy. Some of it stuck pretty well, so we're not going to bother trying to muscle it off too much, because we're just going to be covering it with more layers anyway. But I just mixed up some more, and this time it's quite a bit thicker. It's not as liquidy as it was before. And so we're going to do another test on a section where it came off really easy and a section where it didn't really want to come off at all, to make sure that it's not an adhesion to the hull thing and it's more of a consistency thing. Yeah, so we're gonna give it a go and then let that sit for 2 days and see how it goes. go back on the wall again. Okay.
It looks much better.
Way better. I have no idea what went wrong the first time. I think, like, the only thing I can think of, there's two variables right now. One, this is a new bucket, so we just mixed it. And I don't know if letting it sit overnight makes a difference or not.
It could have, because we had a second bucket yesterday as well.
And the other one is, like, it's definitely thicker, but it's not clogging the way it did last time. So, honestly, I have no idea. I really don't. But that went on significantly better. That went on like the test we did outside and the first test that we did, where it sticks. You can see that it's not like sloughing down. It's a much thicker layer. So we're gonna let that one cure for 2 days and then do another scrapey, brushy adhesion test. And if both of those are good, then we'll do the hull again. First coat.
Okay, I just want to quickly say thank you to BetterHelp for being the paid partner of this week's video. We all carry things that are not always visible, whether that's doubt or stress or struggles in relationship, or even the pressure to keep moving forward when things can feel uncertain, like this installation project that we've been dealing with the past couple of days. The weight of it is emotionally and mentally draining. And when you're constantly pushing forward, it's easy to forget that you don't have to do this alone. So whether you're working on strengthening your relationship with others, or you're navigating through life changes, or you're just trying to be kinder to yourself, having the right support can make all the difference. That's why I appreciate platforms like BetterHelp, which is an online therapy service that makes starting therapy so simple and so accessible. Getting started is really easy. First, you fill up a questionnaire that helps understand what you're looking for in therapy, and BetterHelp will match you with one of their therapists in just a couple of days. From there, you can chat with your therapist anywhere at any point that's convenient for you, whether it's on the road or at home or at your office or on the boat. And if you feel like it's not the right fit, at no additional cost, you can switch therapists until you find the right match. So if you've been thinking about starting therapy, now is a great time to start. You can check out the link below. It's betterhelp.com/SelingUma, and you can get 10% off your first month. And on that note, back to installation.
All right. Well, our tests we did yesterday have had a good chance to dry, at least enough that we know it worked better than the first time around. So we are going to spray on a first coat today. We also just got off the phone with the guys at Cork explaining what our issues were. They kind of confirmed that we were doing it wrong. Turns out you're really not supposed to add any water at all. The other tip that they said was, rather than like taking the bag out and turning it upside down and dumping it, because then when it's sitting in the bucket, all the glue sort of settles down to the bottom and the cork sort of floats to the top. And that's why you need to mix it, because it does separate. They said it's better to like lift the bag up and cut the bottom, because then all the glue comes out and the cork pushes the glue out. So we get like a little bit more glue in there. And yeah, so today we're gonna mix a lot and then spray another coat on. And hopefully this one goes on better and sticks better. Our test looks good though. It looks like our first coat's supposed to look better. So that's good. We'll spray a second coat on it today so we know what the second coat looks like.
right. How long have you been mixing it for?
Well, I mixed that bucket for like 20 minutes yesterday. That's when we did our test with. So this morning we mixed it for like out of 10. It's a very good, like creamy, gooey consistency. So, second first cook. Here we go. Much better. Oh, so much better. It's also much less messy with this consistency. There's way less of it like bouncing off and hitting me in the face, which is really good. Means I can like at least take the hood off though. Yeah, looks great.
Oh, it looks so much better.
It's not on the floor.
It looks
Look,
so much better.
no glue puddles.
There's no glue puddles. It actually looks like we sprayed something, and it's pretty dry, and it doesn't come off. Look at that. I'm sure if I like dug in, but yeah, so much better. So this is the right way to do it. We finally figured it out.
All right, we've got 3 fans running, a heater, the big heater. We're wearing puffies because
Because it's cold outside.
But yeah, it definitely looks like a much more successful first coat.
Yeah, it took a few tries.
Yeah,
We got
I think the technique was good to just have like Kika mixing all the time, because what we found with the second first coat is that after maybe the second or third time that we filled up the hopper, if we stopped spraying for like a minute or two, it sort of solidified in the gun, and we still had to like clean out the tip.
Mm-hmm.
And so just having her mixing all the time, so that as soon as I was done spraying, we could like just top it up real quick, and I could just keep going, and the consistency stayed good, made a huge difference.
Yeah.
We still ended up cleaning the tip out like quite frequently.
But not as often as the first time.
But also
the
we
first
found
time
it was-
didn't work at all, so
It was better, rather than like trying to clean the tip out, it was better to just dump everything out, rinse it with water so it was like a fresh start. And then when we started again, it was just awesome. So yeah, that definitely helped. The
Yeah.
consistency was much better too. It was like It reminded me of concrete. I know it sounds weird, but it's lighter and fluffier, but that's sort of like liquid, but not quite a liquid, like concrete. Everyone says Greek yogurt or this or that, but like to me, it reminded me of concrete.
I feel like it's such a tricky balance too, because when it was too thick, it just didn't spray well, and when it was too thin, it didn't spray well.
Yeah.
It had to be perfect.
It
had to really be good.
Consistent. And so yeah, if it was like, if you could tip the bucket up and it just poured out, that was too wet. But if you could like pick it up on a stick and like turn it sideways and some of it didn't fall off, that was too dry. You wanted it to like flow, but very slowly. And it seemed to work well. But I think the main takeaway was just mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing.
And not add water in the end.
Yeah, we didn't add water to any of it, and it worked better.
So yeah, we didn't know that there was no need for water, because if you just keep mixing for at least 15 minutes, then the consistency is gonna get a little bit
It's like
better.
it needed a little faith. Like when we started mixing, we're like, it's too clumpy. Like it's too dry. There's no way it's ever gonna get. We got so tempted to add water, but like, no, let's just mix for 5 more minutes. And then it got like a little bit better. Like, let's mix for 5 more minutes. And then the problem was like, if you let the bucket of the mixture sit while you were spraying, the glue would slowly start to settle out. So when you went to scoop it again, that top layer was already like too dry. And so, yeah, having Giga just mixing the whole time, I think made a lot of difference. Yeah, we also had a call with the guys at Cork before we did this layer and confirmed our sort of theories and suspicions. And they definitely confirmed we added way too much water and it was way too liquidy, which was pretty obvious from the results that we had. So, yeah, this layer looks much better.
It looks
pretty happy
good.
with it. You can still kind of see some of the names through the hull, but it's the first layer. So we've got another layer to spray tomorrow, and then a bunch of cork to glue in place, and then 2 more layers to spray on top of that. So we've got a lot more work to do.
Yeah.
But this makes me feel better inside.
I know, me too. I was a bit worried when everything failed and we didn't do everything right, but
Steep learning curve. Hopefully, if you ever do this, you'll learn from our mistakes.
yeah, that's the idea.
We've got to let this dry at least till tomorrow,
Yeah.
and
We'll
then
see you guys next week.
more insulation.
Cheers.